KBLA, and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Hey Zo, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Let's tell the truth. You don't actually want love. Not yet. What you want, what you've been chasing, is to be picked, chosen, validated. You want someone to point at you and say, you're it. You're finally enough now. I see you. I choose you. Because somewhere deep down in your system, you internalized a very dangerous equation. To be chosen is to be safe. To be desired is to be valuable. To be wanted is to be worthy. And anything that threatens that equation, anything that reminds you that real love is quiet and steady, you reject it. Because being picked by someone you had to earn, especially someone emotionally unavailable, chaotic, hard to impress, that feels like redemption. That feels like healing. It's not. It's just another performance. You know what? Let's rewind, because this didn't start with romance. This started long before. Maybe it was a parent whose love you had to earn. A caregiver who praised you only when you were useful, but never when you were hurting. A family system that rewarded performance and punished emotional needs. So you adapted. You learned to be easy, charming, smart, helpful, pleasant, never too much. You became whoever you needed to be just to avoid abandonment. You became the version of yourself that was most likely to be chosen. And the version of you that wasn't, you buried them. Now you're grown, but the wound remains. You say you want love, but what you mean is validation. You say you want partnership, but you mean a witness who will finally say you're good enough. You mistake anxiety for chemistry. You mistake distance for mystery. You mistake someone's unpredictability for a challenge you need to win. Because deep down, you believe that the harder they are to earn, the more valuable you must be if they choose you. So you chase unavailable people and call it fate. You pine after the one who won't text back and call it romantic tension. You ignore the steady love that feels unfamiliar because deep down your nervous system is wired for chaos. Let me say this as clearly as possible.
Please.
You are not addicted to love. You are addicted to performance. You are addicted to pursuit. You are addicted to trying to prove that you're enough. And love? True, grounded, emotionally secure love. It won't make you prove anything. Which is why it feels boring, foreign, off. Because real love doesn't spike your nervous system. It doesn't trigger your flight or fight. It doesn't make you question your worth every 5 minutes. Real love doesn't feel like conquest. It feels like home. And to someone who was raised to perform, home feels suspicious because it doesn't ask you to earn it. So my darling, what are you really afraid of? Because you're not afraid of rejection. You are afraid of being seen without the sparkle. You are afraid of being held when you're not impressive. You are afraid of being truly known. Because what if when you finally stop performing, no one stays? What if when the mask comes off, the love disappears? That's the core wound. That's the haunting fear. So you keep reaching for the fantasy. If I can get that person to choose me, that person, the avoidant one,
Right.
the emotionally distant one, the one who doesn't choose anyone, then maybe I'm finally good enough. But that's not healing. That's self-abandonment in disguise. That's tying your worth to someone else's inability to love properly. You don't want to be loved. You want to be exceptional. You want to be the one who changed them. You want to be the one they couldn't ignore. You want to be the person who finally got through to someone who would never let anyone else in. Because if you can earn the love of the emotionally unavailable, then maybe finally you can stop doubting yourself. You can stop asking what's wrong with you. But this is where the whole thing collapses, my love. Because even if they choose you, you still won't believe it. Because the wound didn't begin with them. It began with you. And no one can love you into healing the parts of yourself you refuse to meet. So how do you heal this? How do you go from chasing validation to actually letting yourself be loved? First, you grieve. You grieve the self who thought she had to be desirable to be kept. You grieve the little girl who believed she had to be perfect to be loved. You grieve the teenage version of you who thought being picked was proof of her value. And then you unlearn. You stop turning love into a reward system. You stop auditioning. You stop...
Man, Pearl Lee, is that her name, Andy? Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy in the name of sweet baby Ray's barbecue sauce. My goodness, she was cooking. And let me just add on, because this is an important topic, as they all are. Like, I want us to be serious about relating. Many of us just want to have fun. Many of us just want stimulation. We just want some kind of movement to feel like we're going somewhere, we're doing something. And she alluded to it earlier. Real love is boring because there's nothing else to conquer. There's nothing else to acquire. See, when you're empty, ambition becomes the mission, right? When you're empty, you may have relational ambition. I need somebody to love me the way I deserve to be loved. When you're empty, right? When you're financially empty, oh, I need to get this bread, right? I got to go get this paper. Get rich or die trying, right? See, let me tell you something. Ambition exists where there is scarcity. Ooh, but when you tap into the infinite source of all that is, sometimes called love, sometimes called God, you find that the quest for more evaporates. Tonight's topic, man. Sister, I had to let her rock because she was cooking. Why isn't this show the most important show in America? It should be. You know why? Because we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts of why we're put here to relate. Do you understand? You're here to relate so that all of that stuff can come to the surface and be claimed by its owner. And once it's claimed, right, it gets to enter this transformation portal, this transmutation portal. The thespian lover. Who wrote your script? A deeper look at the spiritual degradation caused by relational performance and why it's no longer working in your favor. Are we mere actors and actresses in love's theater? Trapped by Peter Pan syndrome and the wounded inner child who never outgrew their traumatic past. Our hearts, once scarred and abandoned, cling to a perpetual state of arrested development or arrested youth, a safeguard against unbearable pain. In a world that prizes scripted perfection, relationship goals, right? Relationships remain frozen, blending cognitive empathy with unhealed childhood experiences and wounds. Beneath rehearsed gestures, a quiet voice of the inner child pleads for genuine intimacy. What if dismantling these rehearsals, these love rehearsals, these attachment rehearsals, right? What if that unveils a luminous truth about yourself? In shedding roles forged by past trauma, we might be able to liberate our true selves and rekindle a transformative self-love, inviting us to embrace vulnerability, igniting authentic connection, first with ourselves, then with others, thus shattering these eternal chains. Do we live in the illusion of authentic intimacy? Don't act like you faking it a lot of times. I'm going to fake it this time just so I can avoid conflict. I'm going to fake it this time because I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of abandonment. After all these years, I'm still afraid. The illusion of authentic intimacy, unmasking the thespian lover. Here's your psychological insight. Recognize that habitual role-playing in relationships often spring from early attachment insecurities, triggering scripted behavior to mask vulnerability. Here's your empirical insight. Research shows that individuals who rely on performative empathy tend to report lower levels of relational satisfaction and diminished genuine connection. Let's ask the question, are you scared of connection? Are you afraid of vulnerability? Are you afraid of intimacy? Are you afraid of closeness? You want it from others, but are you afraid to give it unconditionally? Real questions for real people, for real adults. 1-800-920-1580. Your philosophical insight. Question the underlying essence of authentic love versus artificial love. Challenge the notion that love must be performed rather than experienced. we can fake spiritual all day. How many of y'all been to a sound bath where they got the little bowls out? You know, they got the little sound bowls, and then they got the little rain-making thing, and you hear all this. You're immersed in the sound. You're experiencing a sound bath. Have you ever experienced love like that? Yeesh. Right? Love is not something to be done. Oh, love is a verb. Real love is a verb. It's an action. It's what you do. No. It's who you are. No one told you that you're supposed to become love, so it is not a demand or expectation of your partner. And say, well, how do you get love from somebody else? Is it wrong to expect love from somebody else? No. Relationships reflect. Do you see? You become love. It gets reflected back to you. You start to magnetize experiences that are in alignment with what you are. Do you see? Do you understand? Nobody taught us this. Your metaphysical and spiritual insight here. Embrace the idea that true intimacy emerges when we dissolve our predetermined roles. And I'm not talking about gender roles. I'm talking the role of who we think we are. The character, that's a better term, right? Allowing the soul's genuine expression to surface. Deeper questions. How genuine are you in your relationship? We know many of us perform. Many of us put on a show. Many of us don't mind soft shoeing and tap dancing in order to maintain the relationship. Right? What about performative masculinity and femininity? The artificial fronting, stunting, and positioning versus true vulnerability. When I come forward, the voice of reason, going to keep this bonfire burning. But more importantly, I'm inviting you, right, to call in and share your experience. What have you learned from your relationships? What have they taught you about your performative ways? Is the performer in you the tool you use to recognize the performer in them? And are you frustrated with their performance, yet not frustrated with your own? Is there some cognitive dissonance there? When we come forward, the voice of reason shall keep cooking.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
One, two. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are two big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
On the streets of LA, I'm going out, been hanging around the house all day. So I'll take me a shower just like a big daddy. Stop at the Arco, put some gas in my caddy. On my wheels, shine up my Daytons. Check my 12 gauge, I see Jacket just waiting. Got in my car, rolled up the tinted glass, look for my Zap tape to pop in my dash. Can't find it, forget it. Went under my seat, found my old 5 tape of the song Knee Deep. So I popped it in, then I pumped it up.
So we know that a man who's really cooking, I like to say cooking in these circuits, he knows how to have fun. He may be developing the capacity for a deep, sustaining joy. He will be comfortable in his body, and he is quite able to display himself physically without the spoiling effect of shame. And often that will come out in his being a good dancer. Will often come out in that respect. Is there anything else you would add to what you would include that a man that can do blank or who manifests this characteristic has got a lot of material lover stuff? Yeah.
For me, my other side comes out of cooking. So the cooking and love food.
And that gets us, thank you for that, cooking, because that actually gets us to the other thing I wanted to kind of close with. Will you share with us all the things that you've done which have helped you embody this lover energy? Cooking. Now, see, I admire you. I always say admire the guys that can do things that you're not that good at, you know, and so that you can try to be more like them. In my old age, I hope to get to where I can cook, because I think that's one, really becoming a good cook is a great way to let the lover come out in all kinds of dimensions. So thank you for that. Others, yeah.
To be able to improvise with music and rhythm.
Ah, yes. Playing music. Right, exactly. Others.
Gardening.
Gardening is another big one. In fact, the image of the different spaces, of the archetypal spaces, you know, there's the field of battle we've been hearing about. But the garden is really a great image, and always has been a great image for the lover. And gardening is, it requires a pretty mature lover, because you really got to care about the plants, right? other comments, things that you have experienced that have opened you up.
Dresses.
Fashion. A sense about how you can, yeah.
Gay guys, see.
Yeah.
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 Listen, what he's saying reminds me of The Shrouded Lighthouse. The book I wrote or released in 2021. I wrote it and released it in 2021. Again, men who have talents usually let those talents speak for themselves. Right? And I tell my daughter, never date a man's talent, date his character. Because the talent is the magic he uses to swoon you. Behavior is language. And for hurt people, I've got to act a certain way. I got to act like I'm not hurt. I got to act like I'm not bothered. Do you see? Don't date the talent, date the character. That takes a little bit of discerning, right? Oh, he made me laugh. Well, he's a comedian. Oh, he can sing. Yes, he has a beautiful voice, right? Or she has a beautiful voice. Sometimes we get caught up in the talents of folk. Just because someone is uber talented does not mean they are rooted in what the West African calls iwapwele, good character. Do you see? I know you don't want me to put it this way, but what I'm trying to tell you is this is what performative relating is. I'm going to act right so that I don't disrupt my supply. If the supply I have wards off loneliness, if the supply I have brings me sex, if the supply I have is a type of relational multivitamin that I use as a supplement for what I didn't get in childhood, I'm going to perform to keep it because I haven't learned to cultivate it from within. You could free your partner up if you cultivated it from within. You could not have that as a deal-breaking expectation. Do you understand what's happening? Listen, when the voice of reason returns, the phone lines are going to get cracking. Let's do it.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Tensions rose as President Trump accused South Africa of genocide against white Afrikaners during a meeting with President Ramaphosa, who says he wants to discuss the issue.
You are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about.
Ramaphosa denied the allegations, telling Trump there is a minority party behind the tensions between blacks and whites. Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial is back on in New York City. A Homeland Security agent described the Miami raid, revealing drugs and baby oil. And Chris Brown is out on $6.7 million bail after a London court hearing tied to a 2023 nightclub assault. He was arrested last week but can now move forward with his European tour starting June 8th. His next court date is June 20th. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. and know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected, supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number because Ray, he's going to text it live and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Steady long, steady wrong. Hey, y'all close that front door. Y'all let flies in this motherfucker. can spot you a mile away. I can see your insecurities written all on your face. So predictable your words, I know what you're gonna say. Who you fooling or you assuming you could just come and hang with the homies, but your level of realness ain't the same. Circus acts only attract those that entertain. Small talk, we know that it's all talk. We live in the laugh factory every time they mention your name. Ask where the sack to impress me. Ask where the money bags to impress me. Say you got the burner stash to impress me. It's all in your head, homie. Ask where the plug at to impress me. Ask where the jug at to impress me. Ask where it's at only upsets me. You sound like the feds on me. You ain't gotta lie to kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie to kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta try so hard. You ain't gotta lie to kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie. You ain't gotta lie to kick it, Mikey. You ain't gotta try so hard.
What is Peter Pan syndrome? Really? At its core, it's the inability or deep unwillingness to grow up. Not physically, of course, but emotionally, socially and psychologically. People with Peter Pan syndrome often avoid adult responsibilities, resist emotional intimacies, struggle to commit, and tend to act impulsively or selfishly. They may lack long-term goals, financial independence, or the ability to regulate their emotions like mature adults. Think of it as emotional adolescence stretched far past its expiry date. And no, it's not always just man babies. While Kylie originally focused on men, we now know that people of any gender can experience those patterns. It's just that the way it manifests might differ depending on cultural norms and expectations. There's a deep discomfort with adulthood, not just its responsibilities, but the identity that comes with it. People with Peter Pan syndrome don't just fail to grow up, they actively resist it. Adulting feels like a trap, a boring, soul-sucking, joy-killing machine of bills, jobs, commitments and compromises. And so they retreat into what feels safe, the comfort of youth. Now, let's pause for a moment. This isn't about shaming anyone, because when you scratch beneath the surface, Peter Pan syndrome often has roots in trauma, anxiety or deeply unmet needs. No one wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm just never going to mature emotionally. It's more complex than that. Many people with Peter Pan traits come from homes where they were either overprotected or neglected. On one end, helicopter parenting creates adults who don't know how to make decisions or cope with failure. On the other, neglect can lead to emotional immaturity because the child never had the chance to develop healthy coping skills or stable self-worth. Now, in both cases, the person may develop a deep fear of responsibility because responsibility feels like danger, like pressure, like inevitable failure. Excuse me. There's often also a connection to avoidant attachment styles. People with Peter Pan syndrome may struggle to form and maintain healthy relationships. Commitment feels claustrophobic, vulnerability feels unsafe. Instead, they chase newness, fun, surface level excitement, anything to avoid.
So maybe you got to hear from Dumbledore. You got to hear from Harry Potter. Those say the same thing every day. Well, not every day. But I've said it 1,000,000 times. Maybe you got to hear from somebody else. You know? Very interesting questions. Peter Pan syndrome. How does that tie into this performative piece? Right? I know how. And I have a caller that's going to tell me how in a second. But if you missed it because of the gentleman's heavy accent, Peter Pan syndrome, PPS, is a popular psychology term used to describe an adult who has difficulty growing up and often exhibits socially immature behavior. The term is derived from the fictional character Peter Pan, who never ages. And while it is not a recognized clinical diagnosis, it reflects the challenges some adults face in accepting adult responsibilities. Well, let's go even deeper. When you're wounded in your childhood, oftentimes the inner child or the inner Peter Pan lives in you. That child gets stuck in that moment, that inner child. Something happened in your formative years that was traumatic, right? Oftentimes we stay stuck there, irrespective of our chronological age. I've got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Attila, Houston, Texas. Get up on in here.
What up?
What are your thoughts?
What up, Unc?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good.
I sound like you now. I be checking in. Yes? Okay.
Excuse me. Come on
But
in here, niece.
nonetheless,
You know what we
yes.
own. Let's get it.
Yes, I do. Yes. So I added the element with the Peter Pan syndrome because it's just a theory. It might be a leap. But I think a big part of the reason why we're performing is because we're performing the role of a wounded child so that we don't have to grow up. So, like, if that person is, like, your surrogate parent in the sense that, like, they are modeling after the original wound that you had from a parent, it makes sense why you'd be kept in a perpetual state of adolescence, like spiritual adolescence.
Spiritual adolescence. Please go deeper into that. I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, the guy pretty much covered it, but I kind of think of it as basically something that retards your growth spiritually. But that can also affect you in the physical as well. Like, I think he mentioned not being able to commit or just not being able to form, proper relationships and things like that. Like, these are things that we would go to a counselor for, and they'd go through your trauma, right? And all of that trauma is hitting at the Peter Pan syndrome. What is the real reason you don't want to mature? What's holding you back?
Wow. You know what's deep about that? All spirituality is acceptance without judgment.
Yeah.
Embracing, right? Like, the little inner child can't grow up if you never embrace the inner child without judgment.
Come on.
That's the reason why they're still there and still whining and having a temper tantrum is because you've never turned to it and embraced it. Now, here's the thing. Many people don't know how to do that and may need to be guided in that practice, so therapy is big. That's a good thing. But I think the Peter Pan piece was a nice touch. I think, yes, a lot of people are carrying a wounded Peter Pan within their spirit. And like the guy said in the clip, it doesn't matter. It's not gender specific. So that's a big deal. I think that's good too. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of, I don't know what you would say for the the female version, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of women who go through this as well. And I would say there's like 4 things that I kind of cornered in regards to this topic that I think would help in terms of like things that maybe you want to observe yourself doing or see if it is something that you do. And the first one being trading in your self-worth for temporary favor, even on the most like logical of levels, right? Like when you think about like the workplace, we're often kind of groomed to basically trade in our time for money. So we're already used to this level of transactionalism. And this also happens in the spiritual realm. It happens when you give up your spiritual worth to get the favor, validation, or whatever you call it from another person, right? That kind of goes into like basically the people pleasing. The second thing I would say is that you need to release the resentment that you have around your pain. And that's something that I've had to do a lot of work in recently. Like I said, if you think you're healed, go home. Baby,
Wow.
I went home. A lot of things happened. A lot of things happened.
I'll tell her, I love you, child. I love you, niece. We appreciate you always coming in and cooking with the rarest grease. Guess what you just did?
I brought Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. And when we come forward, we're going to talk about how they define Peter Pan syndrome in women. Let's go.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Catch up, nigga. Damn, you fading them hoes. How you gave them that? Order Marva K with the alligator strap. Sick of ya, but you now a later raps. Rap about it now, hope you get it later. Do a couple shows, hope you are saving up. I show you how to do this, son. With this particular watch be a one-of-one. That means none before it, none to come. The homie that's rapping be the only one that has it. I show you how to do this, son. You ain't heard I push the 6 when the 5s is out. You can't fight me. In the Porsche, I box you out. I show you how to do this, son. We don't drive X-Files, we give them the baby mamas. Push the big top that's shaped like a Kansas chicken snack box. I get it cracking when I'm backing out the garage. The 360 drop for raw, shut down Manhattan. Bucket low like it though. Nights on, daytime, lights on. Hell yeah, I'm frontin', but you love it though. I show you how to do this, son. I'm a check writer, your royalty receivers. Y'all eating off per diem on the low like a Caesar.
One who can observe one's own activity of the brain, that it is really like a computer that's been programmed and remembers.
Well, it's certainly a large part of the activity is that way, but one is not certain that all of it is that way.
No. And it is conditioned.
Yes.
Conditioned by past generations, by the society, by the newspapers, by the magazines, by all the activities and pressure from the outside. It is conditioned.
Yes. Now, what do you mean by this conditioning? You see, what does it?
It is programmed. It is made to conform to a certain pattern, lives entirely on the past, modifying itself in the future with the present and going on.
Wow. The great Krishnamurti sitting with the great Dr. David Bohm, theoretical physicist, talking about the structure and the nature of the mind and how it is conditioned. Listen, I told you this before. Wherever there's a pattern, right, there will be a need, right? The pattern needs something. There's a longing. Wherever there's unconditionality, love has no bounds. Anything that's unconditional forgiveness, unconditional freedom, right, has no bounds. Where there is a pattern, there will be a pursuit. There will be some type of chase. People don't understand that. In intimate relationships, you got a pattern. Some people say, oh, well, I got a secure pattern. Secure doesn't mean perfect, right? And secure patterns can be pulled insecure, right? People don't recognize that. Nobody gets to escape from the self-work. It's got to happen. Now that we've come full circle, after coming forward, this Peter Pan syndrome piece is very interesting. In many cultures, women are defined as the people who nurture and handle household and family responsibilities, including caring for, bathing, and feeding the children. Peter Pan syndrome has listen to this piece, has the partner clinging to their mate as the nurturer, someone they can attach to so that their needs can be met. Does that sound like codependence to you? You stay in a state of perpetual neediness. They're calling it the Peter Pan syndrome, and how it manifests in women. Let's see how it manifests in men. Peter Pan syndrome, difficulty growing up and facing adult responsibilities. Peter Pan syndrome refers to adults, particularly men, who have difficulty growing up, failure to launch, and facing adult responsibilities. It describes individuals who may age physically but remain emotionally immature, often struggling with typical adult tasks such as maintaining jobs and relationships. I don't know who put relationships in there, because relationships aren't the easiest thing to manage, especially if you don't know yourself. The term was popularized by psychoanalyst Dan Kelly in the 1980s and is largely associated with males reflecting societal expectations and gender roles. Very interesting. What are some signs that you are a thespian lover? In other words, an actor, a relationship actor. And when you act, what type of awards are you trying to win? Are there some relationship Oscars and Tonys that you're after? What are you after? I'm interested to know. How might getting rid of your performative nature make way for more authenticity and stronger connections? Is it the pressure to keep up the performance in relationships that scares people off from commitment? I won't be able to keep this thing going. And do you stop the charade, right, after you get what you want? Many men know this. I'm not saying women don't do it, but many men know this practice. Is the necessity for commitment a part of the performance as well? I'm interested to know, right? How do you define the thespian lover within your own narrative? And what inner script governs your romantic performances? People are sitting quiet, acting like they don't put on a show. We did a show a couple months ago called Are You in a Showmance? In what ways might the desire to perform love actively undermine the authenticity of deep, intimate connection? I'm very interested to see how we're going to answer some of these questions. We've got callers on the line, and I'm going to get them in. Can the very act of managing a partner through predetermined roles be a modern manifestation of a spiritual script written by past traumas? Listen, that's a question for you right there. Can the very act of managing a partner through predetermined roles be a modern manifestation of a spiritual script written by past traumas? Is the drive to secure external validation in love an unconscious echo of our attachment to performance? And how might this be rooted in early life imprinting? Who taught you your role? Did your insecurity teach you your role? How does performative masculinity or femininity serve to mask a fear of vulnerability and thus limit true self-awareness? Oh man, relationship ain't about all of this. People just like each other or they don't like each other. Ain't nobody acting in love. What? When I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's get it.
I show you how to do this, son. How you want it? My jeans is 300. These ain't diesel. These is the diesel. Top is rock. You know the rest. A big bucket of frozen water on my chest. I show you how to do this, son. Man. Get a crate, some house slippers, a newspaper, look out, boy, and get your chips up.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Tensions rose as President Trump accused South Africa of genocide against white Afrikaners during a meeting with President Ramaphosa, who says he wants to discuss